Hey, Internet. What do we got to show you today? I don't know if we'll even fit in frame. Let's see if we can do this. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, just about fits. It is Damn Designs, the Invictus. You saw the screenshot, or the thumbnail, or the what have you. So you know that that's what this is. But let's take a look at it. So you're going to see it pretty much as I got it out of the box. Where you get the same experience. I haven't played around with this. But this is pretty much what we got. Now, I was a little concerned when I opened this up, only because I'd heard a lot of rattling in there, and one of the bearings was just completely out and loose, which I thought was a little strange. But it does come with oh, look at that! FZSB V2. Super bearing V2, the notorious. I'm hybrid ceramic. No, I'm not hybrid ceramic, but I'm still an awesome bearing. SBV2. All right. So anyway, we'll put that in. One thing actually, here, let's put this to the side. Because I want to show you one thing on the box. Now, I've actually referenced this box a few times in talking about boxes, where I think it's just, you know, it's a little too much, it's a little too big. It's a nice presentation. It's got felt on the bottom. I'll show you something else I really like. You can see actually more here in the joints how it looks like they've used some sort of filler, because there's a magnet on it, but you can't see the magnet. You can't really feel the magnet, but you can hear the little magnet closing it up. So it is a quality, it is a nice box. I don't even know what that means, but it is a decent little quality box. So if you want a little box to store stuff in, I mean, it's got nice hinges, it's well done. So but for me, I mean, that's got to be a $10 box. I'd rather save 10 bucks in the spinner personally, but it is a nice box. So let's give them credit where credit's due. It's a good box. So they got the sweet little Damn Designs card in here. Warning, don't eat it. Okay, we won't eat it. Damn Designs, thanks for the heads up. Let's open it up. Nice little pouch. Now this pouch is nice. This is good if you like those kind of pouches. It's a lot like some of the round ones. I think it's, I don't know if Spinetics does round ones. Some of the stuff from Spinetics comes in round ones, but it's nice. It's pretty firm. Got a good texture. Got the little, put whatever you want in here, pouch, extra set of buttons, extra bearing. So I'm pretty sure, looking at it as best I can tell, this is a stainless steel, and then it's got a hybrid ceramic. I'm pretty sure in it. If that's, I'll try to get that information updated, and then update you guys in the little, you know, we'll put a little line below. That guy needs to work on his muffler, I think. But there we go. Let's look at this thing. So I have to assume this is intentional, but first looks right out of the box. The lines on this side, you can notice, are just about perfect horizontal, side to side, right? With a little laser etched, little Damn Designs logo, done subtly. We dig that around here, subtle design. But then on this side, it goes at an angle. It goes at like probably not quite a 45. What would you say that is, a 30 degree? So I don't know why that is. Doesn't bother me, really. In fact, it actually feels like this, you kind of almost feel the lines more, where this feels really smooth despite seeing those lines. So I actually kind of like the angled side more, for what it's worth. So, round buttons. We got round buttons. We got decagon buttons. Now, in the last review, and from other people as well, you've seen where they had like sort of some sharp edges on these, and the round buttons have that solved. Round buttons are nice and comfy. We like the round buttons. Good steps. Look at how evenly the light reflects around here, because that's going to matter here in just a second. But really nice. Now let's take a quick peek under the hood, because this has got the same deal going on as the Triad, where you've got buttons with a little what have you, little lip, so that they kind of hug around this little bearing retention. So it's got a standard bearing retention thing. So that'll help keep dust and debris out of your bearings. So that's nice. Now let's take a look at these buttons real quick. And I want to show you a couple things, give you an idea of what we're working with here. But this is the bag they come in. Let's look at the bag for a second. Why are we caring about the bag? Look at all the little cuts in the bag from where they rubbed on the buttons. Now, the buttons that were on, the round ones in the last version had those sharp spots. This one has some sharp spots. Look at the way the light reflects around there. All these little burrs and edges. It's really uneven in a lot of spots. See all these little steps down in there? These are like, I'm afraid to rub my fingers sideways. I feel like I could really, I mean, I can just shave stuff off my fingers with this. So these definitely need to be hit with some sandpaper. I mean, this is just, they're unusable, which is sad. If you're pinching them with a bit of a grip, it's okay, but just moving them around, there's just this sharp little burst. It feels like it's on all the steps a little bit, but especially this last one on the edge. And that's just, I mean, that's just sad. It's sad for me, because I want to use these buttons. I think these are the cooler looking buttons, and they had that issue before, and they solved it on the other buttons, and now it's here on this one. You can feel it a little bit on some of the edges out here too. Not too much, but yeah, I mean, the bag was getting cut up. But honestly, that doesn't really matter. Why? You guys remember that Van Pelt that I got? Came with those hammered buttons, also came with their standard buttons. Their standard buttons on here are perfect. So we're just gonna put these on. Nice heavy buttons. Actually, before we do that, because they're kind of heavy, it's kind of off balance because of that stupid little rivet there. We'll put this down. Since we have the buttons off at 50 without the buttons, 63 with the buttons, and let's just see what these Van Pelt buttons do because they're kind of heavy, chunky buttons. 75 with the buttons. So I like that. I like that the buttons are heavier, gives it some extra weight, but yet the spinner itself is still 50 grams. So it's good for spinning. Really, really good. So let's throw the buttons on here. And these are big, thick buttons. They got the nice knurling on the side, which subtle knurling like this, it's really done really nice. I mean, we're talking Van Pelt now for a second, but they're really nice buttons. And the knurling on the side really lets you clamp in, but that's nice and soft for your fingers so it doesn't rub weird. You know, their logo's on there a little bit. It's not too in your face, so I don't mind that too much, and it's a nice, subtle, rounded, just feel like really smooth old buttons. So I think we've seen the spinner up close enough. How does it spin? So one thing as well, these are much larger arms than are on the Triad. And they're kind of, I'm pretty sure they're fatter as well. I don't have one to compare to. Look at the nice little reflection on the inside there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so they're definitely wider and thicker. They've got a nice little shallow swoop. We've got sort of a flat edge that's rounded here. Same thing with this point, not a hot spot at all. It's rounded perfectly to the point where probably about as close to a point as you can get without being a hot spot. But I mean, I can grab it and catch it on that corner all day. No problems. How is she to fidget with? Well, she is a great fidgeter. If I had to redo my top 10, this might bump out the Hummingbird. If I had to put this head to head with a Hummingbird, I think this is going to win every day, just on spinner alone. So just to give you an idea, we'll get that out of the way early. I guess not really early, we're 7 minutes in, but really fantastic feel. All these edges are nice and rounded, and the transitions from the different faces. When you give this guy a spin, because everything's so rounded, it's easy to catch it and stop it, so you can stop the spin and start. That's my preferred method, is to stop the spin, start the spin, stop the spin. I'm holding it kind of like a weird angle to keep it in frame, so it's feeling a little awkward, but it really isn't like that in person. Toot your horns. Start, stop, start, stop. That's my preferred fidget style. But I can get in there, I can jam on it. Oh, you know what? We can do the that Triad had that cool like lotus petal type shadow. We're not really getting it bright. Light's not quite bright enough today. It's getting to be fall. You know, the sun's getting at a lower angle in the sky. So, plus we're a little overcast right now. Not too bad, but just a little. But yeah, it pushes really well. This little scoop in the middle here is enough to catch your finger on, so you can flick it. You can pull it with either finger. You can interrupt the spin, start it, stop it. Everything is so smooth that it's not an issue to get this guy at full speed and stop it. Speaking of full speed spin times, this thing feels like it wants to spin forever. Now the spin times are a little lower than what I actually thought they would be based on how it feels, because I just give it a spin and it just feels like it is not stopping. On a vertical spin, we'll do tablespin first actually. 5 minutes 18 seconds, pretty good on a tablespin. Vertical spin, 7 minutes 26 seconds. So we get pretty good spin times out of it. Again, pretty decent. I think it feels like it wants to get longer though, so as much as those are good spins, it just feels like it's not slowing down. So you give this guy a really good two-handed spin. That was actually the best two-handed spin, but you know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm talking about. Really dig this spinner. In fact, I got, you know, that tungsten quasar, and as good as the tungsten quasar is, I was reaching for this more. Just because, again, I think the quasar has a couple of those little hotspot issues. They're not real bad hotspot issues, but they're just enough where this is more comfortable kind of to fidget with. Tungsten is fun when you're in the mood for tungsten, but I think for kind of an all-day thing, this is hard to beat. So, but again, that quasar is a nice spinner. Not trying to take anything away from it, but just to kind of give you an idea of how much I really dig this guy. So. Now with the last spinner from Damn Designs, that Triad, I really didn't feel the need to rush out and buy it after getting it, so that to me is kind of a good indication of whether or not I really want a spinner. Now this one I actually did buy, and if I had to borrow this and give it back, I would still want to buy this one. This is a really solid spinner. Now I think they did this sort of as a pre-order, and it looked like they were actually kind of having a hard time getting enough pre-orders to really do a run. But I believe they did a bunch, and I think they had some more drop on their website. So I think as of right now, I think you can get them, but I wouldn't delay. It might be one of those things that they're hard to get. You're going to see that more and more with spinners. Y'all just as a heads up, as the market slows down a little, as there's less of us in here, as the fad kind of dies down, and we're just kind of left with the enthusiasts that are in here. There's less people buying, and when there's less people buying, you have to either charge more or take longer to buy them, or you don't see the new drops coming, because all of a sudden, if you have to do another run, you got to be ready to sell another 100, you know, or however many they need to make. So just something to think about. Slow fidgeting on this guy, good. This is also good. Just giving it that gentle push forward and then getting in there. One of my favorite fidgeting styles, and works really well with this. This works okay. Again, you guys know I don't really like that. I can't say it's really all that great. It's pretty easy to stop on the point quite often, as you can see there. But if you kind of miss it just right, again, it might just be my technique, but these kind of rounded edges, as they kind of round up and away, it's kind of hard to get a good grip. You guys watch Cat in the Hat on PBS Kids? The thingamajigger is up and away. Go, 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 go on an adventure. Anyway, we're flying with the Invictus spinner today. So really, I don't know what else we got to say. Great little spinner, great with the Van Pelt buttons too. That really takes it up a level, I'll be honest. That's probably a big part of it, is these Van Pelt buttons are like perfect on here. I really dig, I did this with the Hummingbird and Tri-Bird, switched up their buttons, and I really like the look of brass buttons on stainless steel. Stainless steel buttons on brass spinners, I kind of like that contrast, but not as much as I like it the other way around. So yeah, anything else you guys want to know? I feel like there's probably something else I could say on this guy, but I think we've just about covered it. But this is a great, fantastic spinner. We already got a negative, right? I said I was going to try and find a negative, and we definitely found one with these buttons. So, ow! No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't quite that bad, but then would I buy it? Can I give you the recommendation to buy it? I believe this is, I think when I got it was 59 bucks, 60 bucks. And for what's going on with the 2 sets of buttons, you know, again, it looks like I might have to do a little sanding on one of the buttons, but it's nice that it comes in there, a couple bearings, 3 bearings, which is interesting. We've got a definite 2 thumbs up recommended spinner. So thinking about it, go and try and pick it up if it's still available. If not, you know, with everything, you'll probably see it pop up here and there on the secondary. So, but yeah, for 60 bucks, I think she's a steal. Again, I'd rather see it at, you know, 50 without the box, but that's just me. So, all right, y'all, this is Hobby Timmy out. Oh, balance. Yeah, let's look at balance. She's pretty good on balance. It's gonna swing a little more on this side, I think. Yeah, pretty good. It doesn't feel like it has really any wobble. You just get my shaky hands, but she's good. All right, y'all. Kisses, Internet.